Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Red Dead Redemption 2 video, I'm going to be showing you guys something you need to avoid. Rockstar are just giant tricksters, man, and they have set a trap somewhere out in the world of RDR2, and I'm going to be telling you guys where it is. So I've been doing a lot of exploring recently in the West Elizabeth Strawberry area. You guys know around Lake Owenjilla, there's the pagan ritual, there's the Native American burial site, and I've been doing a lot of experiments with that, and because of that, I ended up finding this. And I was kind of curious as to what exactly was going on here. So this is what I discovered. It looked like it was sort of an abandoned campsite at first. And there was also like this guy walking his dog. Don't know if they were connected in any way. However, the closer I got to the campsite, I realized that it didn't look like a campsite. It looked like someone's wagon had gone overboard because it was a bunch of suitcases and luggages with pressed shirts and broken tree limbs and bottles and hats and plates, stuff that you would see maybe on the back of a wagon if someone was obviously using a wagon. And then the next thing I found was a lockbox. And in the lockbox, I actually found $10. I found chewing tobacco and a special bitters pamphlet. Whatever special bitters do for you, I actually found this and I learned that recipe. So good stuff right there. That is something that I wouldn't have found if I wasn't exploring this area. However, that's not what is so intriguing to me. As you guys have probably noticed, it looks like there's this wagon over here that is like hanging off the edge of the cliff. And the first time I saw this, I was like, oh, cool. There's got to be some more stuff in there. I guarantee you there's like a bigger prize, a bigger treasure, something that you can acquire. And I was like, there's got to be a gold bar, something along those lines. So I ended up checking this out. And what happened next literally scared me to death. So Rockstar tricked everyone. This wagon actually causes you to instantly die, which is crazy. So I didn't even know something like this existed in the game. There was nothing that I could do there to prevent myself from not falling. And it was built into that wagon because my mini-map went away. If I had just stumbled and fallen down a cliff, my mini-map and all my other icons would have stayed there. But going inside this wagon triggered something very special. And you guys can see that we completely fell off the edge of the mountain. So upon further looking at this wagon, you can see that this thing is quite deadly. It's sort of just hanging off of the side of this cliff here. And I wanted to do a couple of more experiments with this because I was thinking to myself, okay, that seems kind of cruel of Rockstar to put something like that into the game with no reward in sight. I was thinking to myself, there's got to be sort of an end game here that we aren't figuring out. So if you want to check out this location for yourself, you guys can see where we are. It's actually kind of hard to find. We are on the Owenjilla Dam path right above the border of like where you're not allowed to go if you're in the first 6 chapters. That's probably why a lot of people might not have experienced this before, because just taking a look at this, it's like barely above that line where you're not allowed to go. So that's where it's located. I wanted to inspect this a little bit more because the first time I was in there, I was thinking to myself, oh, I'm just going to waltz in here, no problem. And what would happen if I came back a second time? Would this only work once? Turns out the answer is no. All those pots and pans that you end up crashing through, they end up respawning. And if you end up falling or going through the wagon trap again, the exact same thing will unsurprisingly happen. It doesn't matter if you're in first person. It doesn't matter if you're in third person. Each time there's going to be more supplies, more pots and pans that get in your way and stuff like that, and you will end up tumbling over the edge. So no matter how many times you do this, there will never be a treasure at the end of the wagon rainbow for you to get. It's just a trap that Rockstar put in the game for you to cruelly come across. And I tried looking for this in the in-game strategy guide. There is nothing. It's not a chance encounter. It's not a random event. It's not a point of interest where you mark on the map. It's literally something that Rockstar put in the game just to be cruel. So I wanted to do some experiments with this. The The first thing I wanted to see is, could you survive a fall off the edge of this? Because I kind of figured out where we were falling each time. It was in this crevice of the mountain right next to a tree. And if you guys had watched any of my previous videos about the treehouse man in New Austin, we were actually able to save him falling out of the treehouse, which generated an interesting encounter by putting a stagecoach underneath his treehouse. And when he fell out, the stagecoach dampened his fall and he was able to survive. So I was thinking, well, can we do the same thing here? Can we put a stagecoach relatively close to that area? And because this is not a nice, flat, smooth area like New Austin, unfortunately, the answer is maybe, but it was really hard. I tried to get a stagecoach up there, and the second I got it close to the mountain, the stagecoach ended up falling down the mountain, and it was just not a good scenario at all. So I tried to improvise with that because I know there's a feature in the game where if you jump from a ledge onto the back of your horse, it will automatically put you on your horse. So what I did is I left my horse there, and I put it in the spot in which I thought I was going to be. And then I ended up giving this one more shot where we ended up sliding down. And I'll give myself credit. I got close, but certainly nowhere near and probably way too high in order to survive a fall like that. Now, I figured this probably would not make a difference, but I also wanted to try this as John. And I also wanted to see if this wagon would still be here after 7 years. And yep, it turns out that it is not rotten away, it has not been blown away by the wind or washed away, or no one has been smart enough to remove it because it is still there. So in the epilogue, this wagon will still be here, and you can still run across it as John Marston, which means you can still have the same amount of reckless fun. And if you go in there as him, yes, the exact same thing will happen. You'll end up dying and falling over the edge. Now, I wanted to do a couple more experiments with this wagon. I wanted to see what would happen if we threw some fire bottles at it and some dynamite. Would anything happen? And other than lighting on fire, which I thought might do something, the answer is no here. Throwing all these volatile fire bottles and dynamite, they don't do anything other than make the wagon very crispy. So I wanted to try a couple of other things as well. One interesting thing I tried was if you get on top of the wagon and you get on the very edge at the same angle, you don't fall off. So I kind of wish Rockstar had programmed that into it too, because it kind of would have made sense. Maybe the roof just isn't as slippery as the inside, but you do not fall off if you are on the top. And I wanted to see what was in the wagon by attempting to change the camera angle, and all that made me do was fall off. Now, what's interesting is, and I had a normal amount of health here, not using any cheats or anything for health. If you fall off the top, you actually live. But if you slide through the center, you die. So I don't understand the logic in that. Again, it all comes back to the fact that it is sort of a special cutscene. It isn't something that you just have happen to your character, like slipping off a normal cliff. So this has sort of made me wonder, is there anything else like this in the game that isn't marked on the map, isn't a point of interest, isn't a chance encounter that you can interact with in the world? I've been trying to think of other things, but I think this might be the only instance of its kind, this death trap wagon. And I'm also wondering if there's a pop culture reference to this too, because it does seem sort of random. Was there ever something like this in history? Sort of like how the Aberdeen pig farm has its background, how it was based off of real life people that did that. I wonder if someone set up a wagon like this that had the promise of riches, but the inside was meant to have the person slip off the edge and fall to their death. Now, the Aberdeen pig farm one makes more sense because I feel like only dummies would do something this risky going inside of a tilting, falling wagon like this. But I do wonder if there is any pop culture reference. I say pop culture, maybe historical reference would be the better use of the word here, because it would obviously been super historical and not something that's popular in today's culture. So I definitely think this is a very interesting location. I highly recommend that you go to it for yourself. You can try it out. And honestly, what you guys should do is tell your friend or tell one of your posse members about this, because they'll probably think that, like me going to it for the very first time, that this place is going to have riches, and show them the lockbox first and then tell them there's a gold bar in the wagon. Like, you could be so cruel to other players if you know about this and others don't. So that's what I would recommend doing. At the end of the day, it's harmless fun, but tell someone who doesn't know about this and see their reaction. That would be hysterical. But anyways, that's all the information that I've got for you guys in this video today. Hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to leave a like rating on this video. That'd be awesome. And subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new or you like daily Red Dead Redemption 2 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.